We on?
Yeah, we on.
Shalom, shalom. It's brother Asmawaf. Got my
Your brother.
brother
It's like your brother Zachariah.
Khan. Yeah, got brother Zachariah from down from the Houston, from H Town, man. So we're gonna do what we do. We're gonna bring out some edification, through the spirit. But first and foremost, we're gonna give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem Rukakwadash. And that's all praise to the Heavenly Father in his son's name, who the world entered to call Jesus Christ. Real name in Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. And also giving praise, honor, and glory unto the Holy Spirit as well, which is the force that allows us to stay driven to do this, man, to do this for our people. And today, we just wanted to touch into Genesis chapter 32. Particularly, we'll hone in around the 24th verse till like the 29th verse, where our forefather Jacob, basically, was petitioning unto, he was fighting or wrestling against the angel, and this goes to show the type of legacy and the type of shoes that we have to fulfill. If you call yourself a seed of Jacob, if you understand it, now the Spirit is bearing witness to your spirit that you are the child, you are the son of the Most High, right? Which we know according to through the promise that was bestowed upon a particular seed line of so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. All right. With that, we need to see how our forefather operated, all right, when he was being tried, right? Because we're living those days now, and we've been living in those days, but it's really coming down to the crunch, to see who's really going to wrestle, who's really going to fight this good fight of faith, as Apostle Paul had coined it, But before we get into that section of the chapter, we'll just kind of skim through, the first half of it and just get what we can with it, and then we just kind of slow down once we get down to the lower part of it. So, of course, bro, if you got your precepts, just stop along the way. God, so let's jump into it. Right. This is Genesis 32, starting at verse 1. And it says, and Jacob went on his way, and the angels of Yahweh met him. And this is shortly after Jacob basically departed from Laban, when Laban had basically, kissed his daughters, farewell, and basically entrusted Jacob, to take care of of his daughters, right? Because Jacob, he just worked. Let's see, what was it? All in total, what was it? 20 years all in total. I know it's 14 or 7 for each, right? It says it in Genesis 31. Yeah, Genesis 31 and 41. He says, thus have I been 20 years in your house, and I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. So he, served his wife's father, which would be his father-in-law, for 20 years, right? For the cattle and for his women, well, for his daughters, right? But nonetheless, let's go to verse 2, and it says, so after he left Laban, now this is giving you basically a backdrop on the story of, the happenings of Jacob, or Yaakov in the Hebrew, what happened after he left or departed from Laban in peace. It says in verse 1, and when he went on his way, and when Jacob went on his way, and the angels of Yahweh met him, and when Yaakov or Jacob saw them, he said, this is Yahweh's host. Right, and we know that word host, let's just go into it for edification's sake. Said this is Yahweh's host. It means encampment, camp of armed hosts, army camp. All right, because Yahweh is a man of war. It says, and when Jacob saw them, he said, this is Yahweh's host, and he called the name of that place Mahanim, which means the 2 hosts or 2 camps. Verse 3, and Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, unto the land of Seir and the country of Edom. All right. And it's also important to see how our forefather Jacob maneuvered with his arch enemy, his own so-called brother, right? Because this will help us to maneuver in in this land seer, if you will, like Ezekiel 35 prophesy against Mount Seir. So here Jacob is in the latter days finding himself once again, basically at the wheel of his at his most hated, enemy, man. Right. So let's see how our forefather dealt with him. Let's see if he got in an uproar and tried to fight this man. Right. Let's just continue to read. Verse 4. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks and men servants and women servants, and I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in thy sight. Yeah, and David, it's not like he was, trying to, he was, so-called coon or whatever. Of course, that that term wasn't even around back then, but he understood that this was wisdom, man. Right? When you pacify someone's anger, right, with gifts. Proverbs 18 and 16 in the NLT, and he says, a man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. Let's get that in NLT real quick. It says, giving a gift can open doors. It gives access to important people. And the doors that he wanted was what? The doors of mercy, right? Because he understood, right? Genesis 27, when when Esau basically says, once the days of the departing of my father are come to an end, then I will slay my brother Jacob. Well, Jacob was trying to find that gift, or he was trying to open up that door of mercy, man. Right? That's how our forefather dealt with this man, right? Because he ultimately understood that it was his power, the God of his fathers, Abraham and Isaac, that basically ruled this man's spirit, ruled Esau's spirit. All right. So what are you going to do? Try to get in an uproar and get in a frenzy along with this man? You'll be fighting the Most High.
I got a precept.
Okay, come.
Yeah, this is the book of Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 14. You know what I'm saying? Not saying, because not saying that Jacob was a coon or anything, but sometimes it look like today, a brother in the court system. You go in front of the judge, and man, you got to speak sweet things to the judge because you're not trying to get that punishment, man. So Proverbs 16 and 14, it says the wrath of a king is as messages of death, but a wise man will pacify it. So sometimes, man, you got to use smooth words. What's the saying? You know what I'm saying, like put butter on it, make it smooth and things like that. In order to, like, you know what I'm saying, avoid that wrath. Because, you know what I'm saying, Jacob could have went up to Esau, talking all that trash, talking about, oh, in the future your kids gonna be serving mines and things like that, and you know what I'm saying, Esau probably would have went to war with him, man. And then I got one more on the same subject. So there's also something that Yahweh Shah taught us as well. So there's a book of Matthew Matthew chapter 5 and verse 40. No, it's like verse 25. And it says, agree with thy adversary quickly, whilst thou art in a way with him. He say, anytime the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and be cast in prison, man. But sometimes, hey man, look, while you have a chance to agree and to move on with your life, hey man, look, you know what I'm saying? Just say what you got to say and just move it on, man. Like a lot of people, like Christians, they want to take the interaction Paul had with Agrippa, and how Paul said that I wish you was like me except for these chains. They want to say, oh look, Paul, he didn't want the Edomites and chains and things like that. But what they don't understand, I mean, look, I'll tell you, a so-called black man in a white man court system, and look, they may can put you to death if you want to, man. But sometimes you got to use smooth words. Sometimes you got to come peacefully unto that person. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I'm saying? So you can just move on with your life, man.
That's it. And I'm gonna grab this the book of Sirach now. Let's see, you might have to mute it whenever I talk, because there's a echo on your end.
Okay, it's like,
I know you good, bro. Yeah, this is Sirach chapter 9, verse 13. And he says, keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill. So shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if you come unto him, make no fault. All right. And Yaqub, our forefather, understood this. He made no fault. He tried to make sure that, he appeased this man's wrath, right? Because he understood that he was at his mercy, right? As we continue to read and follow in verse, in Genesis 32 in verse 6, he says that Esau came with 400 men. He had 400 men with him, right? And I'm pretty sure that outnumbered Yaqub at that time, right? But he says, and if you come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that you goest in the midst of snares. And what are snares? Snares is traps, man, right? And that's what this current or the spiritual land of Seir or Edom is, which would be known as America, right? This is a land of snares and traps, man, right? So we gotta cultivate, and not just cultivate, but also exercise the same type of wisdom that our forefather, showed us, because this is what's going to be a catalyst to your preservation and to your deliverance, right? The Lord is not going to be delivering people who do not know how to make wise decisions when they're up face and up close and personal with their enemies, right? He says, remember that you goest in the midst of snares, and that you walkest up on the battlements, meaning the war grounds of the city, right? So yeah, we'll just go back, verse 6 in Genesis, and he says, and the messengers returned to Jacob, and that's a beautiful precept that the brother got in Proverbs. Let's grab that, Proverbs 16. Let's get that again, because he sent him messengers. 16 and 14 says, the wrath of a king is as messengers of death, but a wise man will pacify. Well, Jacob sent out his messengers, right, to pacify this man Esau's wrath, right, because he was still wroth with Jacob getting that birthright. All right, he says, verse 6, and the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. See, so, and I'm pretty sure, it doesn't give us the account of how many people were with Jacob, but I'm pretty sure, it's just me speaking, he outnumbered Jacob at that time. Verse 7, then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels into 2 bands. All right, let's go into that word bands, right? If you look into spiritual eyes, and what the current predicament is with Jacob today, all right, we are still in that what would you call it? We are still divided up into 2 bands, if you will. So the word band,
Strong's H 4264,
Mahakne, right? And it means company, tents, armies, encampment, camp of armed hosts, army camp. And let's see here. It was something I had seen. Here we go. Yep. Let me enlarge this. In the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it says a camp, whether of soldiers or of wandering tribes. Wandering tribes. What are we? We are wandering pilgrims, man, all over the 4 corners of the earth, right? And Jacob, once again, he split up into what? 2 bands, right? So this was really prophecy, right here in Genesis 32. Our forefather knew that we were going to be split up into 2 bands, right? So, because we are those wandering tribes, right? You got the northern kingdom and you got the southern kingdom. You got Judah and Ephraim, man. All right. And whenever we get to that, did we pass the point when it talks about the speckled, or was that Genesis 31, the speckled flock?
I think 31.
Okay, kind of, yeah. We won't get it. We just stick to 32, because the brother, before we had got on, we was kind of discussing this, and he had made a beautiful point, about that speckled cattle. But perhaps if the spirit is willing, we'll just touch into that later. All right, this verse 8, and he says, and said, if Esau come to one company and smite it, the other, and this is key point right here, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. So here, Jacob prophesied of, right, his people, his descendants being split up into two kingdoms, if you will, the northern kingdom, southern kingdom. And not just that, he also prophesied of the elect. This is prophecy of the elect. He says the other company which is left shall escape. Let's prove that. This is Isaiah 10 and 20. And it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote him. And who is that that's smiting us? Esau, right? The ones who don't, meaning the ones who don't rely and trust upon Esau, right? That's been smiting them, that's been slaughtering them for over, thousands upon years, because this just ain't started, during the Greeks. Esau been slaughtering us, man. Ever since we came out that womb, he was oppressing us in the womb, right? So that remnant, the ones that escape, that's that remnant, that's the elect of the house of Jacob. And we see that right here in Genesis 32, verse 8. But he says, let me read it again from the top. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant, let's just go into that word remnant. Remnant.
Strong's H 7605.
She'ar. And it says the residue, remnant, remainder. And it may be in this scripture. Let me grab it in Jeremiah 31, right? Because we're living in that time to where the Lord is really going to make known who's that remnant of Jacob, all right? Who's that remnant of Jacob? I want to say verse 7. Yep, Jeremiah 31:7. For thus saith Yahweh, sing with gladness for Jacob. See that? For Jacob. And who's going to be doing that singing? The 144, right? Revelation chapter 14. They have that new song. And this new song is what? It's really this doctrine. All right, that's why in Mark chapter 1, they said to Yahweh Shah, he brings new and strange things into our ears. All right, when you go into that word new, it just means refresh. And this is a refreshed way of teaching. Because for a long time, when our Lord Yahweh Shah has been X'd out in this place, right? Like he said in 2 Ezra chapter 6, the truth is going to spring back up. When it sprung back up, that's this truth being refreshed. That's Jacob. That's the remnant of Jacob singing that song once again. He says, for thus saith Yahweh, sing with gladness for Jacob and shout among the chief of the nations. And Esau is the chief of the nations. He says, publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Yahweh, save thy people, the remnant of Israel. Let's go into that word remnant here in Jeremiah 31:7, because it's different from the one in Isaiah. Let's look in the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. Once again, it says remnant, remainder, Salakia, remaining part, survivors, especially after a slaughter. So that elect, that remnant, those are going to be the ones that's left after this great slaughter during the time of whose? Jacob's trouble, right? This book is all about Jacob, man. It's all about Jacob, right? And then you got the antagonist is Esau. It's always, this is what this movie's about. All these other nations, they're just kind of like fillers, They're just kind of, it's basically kind of keep you on the edge of your seat, but it's really about Jacob and Esau, man. All right, so let's go back. Genesis 32:8. And said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, yeah, that's the 2/3. Because the 2/3, they're a whole nother nation in and of themselves of Jacob. All right, they're Jacob, but they're a whole nother company. Right, he says, and then the other company which is left shall escape. Yeah, that company is the remnant. That's the elect. Right, verse 9, and he says, and you got any precepts, bro?
Yeah, I got two precepts actually.
Okay, come on.
So it's the book of Psalms, chapter 141 and verse 9, right? Because going into that elect being the ones that escaped from Esau, right? It says, verse 9, it says, keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the against of the workers of iniquity, man. But according to the book of Malachi 1-3, it really goes to the Edom being the workers of iniquity, man. You living here in Babylon. Babylon is set up for the Israelite man, woman to try to fall, man, right? So that's why you need the Most High God, man. It says, keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, man. Then again, so the works of iniquity, let the wicked fall into their own nets, because eventually everything that the so-called white man is using to bring down the so-called black Native Americans, and look, the Most High, he's gonna turn it against himself, right? Why is that? It's like, why is that I with all escape, man? So I understand, man. The Most High God, for the 1/3 of the children of Israel, and look, man, we're gonna be able to escape from the snares of the wicked, man. Right? And then this is the book of Isaiah. It's like Isaiah chapter 34. Fuck it. It's Isaiah 34. I had lost it real quick.
Are you good? What did it say, you know?
You said that the remnant. I just had it. It's like it 30 Isaiah 37 and 31.
Okay.
And it's like it. And it says any remnant that is escaped of the house of Judah shall take root downward and bear fruit upward. And for out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they that escape of Mount Zion, the zeal of the Lord of hosts shall do this, man. So let you know, and look, man, the Most High, he's dealing with that 1/3 of Israel, man. The 1/3 of Israel, even though we, you know what I'm saying, in this wicked society, man, that's set up against us, hey, look, man, if you doing what the Most High tell you to do, if you're doing the will of the Most High God, and man, look, at the end of the day, you're gonna escape out of this, man. The same thing Jacob was saying, hey, look, Esau, he gonna get, if he goes on war, they get one camp. Hey, look, man, that the elect, man, that remnant is gonna be saved out of it, man.
Yep.
So that's how I want to go to right now.
And that also proves that when Jacob had said that, he was talking about, he had to have been talking about the elect, that one camp that was going to get swallowed up. Because, you know, like when you read in First Peter, he says, for the Lord knows how, he knows how to deliver the godly out of tribulation. So to go and show you that that camp that wouldn't have gotten swallowed up, that would not have gotten swallowed up, they were the godly. The other camp, they weren't. Because Job chapter 4 says, whoever died, whoever perished, being innocent. So, yeah, let's go back. Genesis 32, and of course, you know, if you got more precepts, we'll just bring them out. Genesis 32, verse 9. And Yahweh, or Jacob said, O Yahweh of my father Abraham, and Yahweh of my father Isaac, Yahweh which said unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I would deal well with thee. And that's what Yahweh has told unto us. Go back to your own people, right? Go to your own people, right? And our own people, that's Matthew chapter 12, those who do the will of our Father, man, right? And he says, I am not, and this goes to show you the humility, right? And when I was reading this, bro, it just kind of just did something to my spirit, you know, revived my spirit, you know, because our forefather Jacob, man, he left us, you know, with some hell of some shoes to fill, you know, as Israelite men. Genesis 32 and 10, he says, I'm not worthy of the least of all the mercies, right? When you consider the mercies that the house of David will partake of, which is known as what? The sure mercies of David. When you read Isaiah 55, right? And various other chapters, Ezekiel 37, right? Because we are that tabernacle of David being risen back up. But Yahweh says that I'm not even worthy of the least of all these mercies, man. Right? He says, and of all the truth, right? So this very truth that we have, that Jacob possesses once again in this lifetime, we're not worthy of it. And we have to show that if you know that you're not worthy of something, right, but yet you possess it, how would you basically carry yourself? As if you can lose it at any moment, meaning you will hold it tightly. That's why Yahweh says, hold fast to what you have, so no man can take it. If you know you're not worthy of something, right? If I know that you know, Brother Zachariah just gave me $1 million, and at any minute he can change his mind. Hey, if it's in my best interest, I'm gonna hide that $1 million from him just in case he changes his mind, man. So this is how we have to do with this truth that we're not worthy of. We have to hide it in the innermost parts of us, man. And that's what our forefather Jacob did, right? And he says, I'm not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I have passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands. Once again, going to those two tribes, you know, Ezekiel 37, those two sticks, right? Let's go to verse 11. He says, deliver me, right? And who's the one who delivers? Yahweh Shai. And we know it's through Yahweh, right? But it's Yahweh Shai. I'm going to show you that Jacob is going to be delivered, right? By Yahweh Shai, man. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. Yeah, because he did it again. I mean, he did it before in 70 AD, and he's about to do it in even more grotesque ways right here in Jacob's trouble. Let's grab. Okay,
I got
Kyle,
to
you
do
got
something
something?
with that too.
Okay, bet.
Because he also did it when he was the Greeks. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 30, and it says, "And spake peaceful words unto them, but all was deceit, man." You know what I'm saying? The so-called white man, he'll always come up saying, "I want to be your friends." You know what I'm saying? The same thing they did with the Native Americans, man. Or show us how to grow corn, show us the land, show us how to make clothes and things like that. No, really, you know what I'm saying, spying out tribe of Gad, trying to see their strength and things like that, right? So the white man, he always, you know what I'm saying, want to speak peacefully, but until that was all deceit, for when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and poured down the houses, walls, and thereof on every side, man. Because the white man, he's known for, you know what I'm saying, going to cities, going to other countries, tearing it down and building up his strongholds, man. Taking all the gold, taking all the silver and all the precious things, right? But not only that, it says, verse 32, but the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle, man. So Jacob, he knew that Esau, the type of mindset Esau had, man. If Esau would have went to war with them, he would have killed all the men, took the women, took the children, took the cattle, man. And it all would have been for naught, man. So like through the spirit, you know what I'm saying, Jacob, he knew his brother, man. And just how today we have to know who our enemies is, man. Right? So you got it.
That's it, man. That hit it right there on the head. That's it. That's it. So as you can see, man, when you read through Genesis, man, all through the Bible, everything in the Bible is prophecy, man. You know, that's why Isaiah 8 and 20 says, if it speaks not according to this word, speaking about the law and the testimony of prophecy, there's no light in it, man. All right, because this whole book is filled with the laws of the Most High and the prophecies. All right. But nonetheless, let's read 11 again. Yeah, that was beautiful. He says, deliver, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. Like that verse the brother got in First Maccabees. And this is Psalm 71, verse 4. And he says, deliver me. And this is Jacob saying this once again, although, it's David, right? But this is Jacob's seed. It says, deliver me, O my power, out of the hand of the wicked. Malachi 1 and 4, the wicked is who? Esau, Edom. Out of the hand of the unrighteous and cruel man. Now let's go into that word cruel, right? Because one would just stop and look at that word cruel, like, oh, he's just evil, right? Let's take a closer look. Examination. Line 3, it says to be read. So when it says deliver me out of the hand of the cruel man, out of the hand of the red man. What was Esau known for being? Let's go there. What was Esau known for being? That red man. He came out red. All right. So let's read it once again with that understanding. Deliver me, oh my power, out of the hand of the wicked, out of the hand of the unrighteous and red or cruel man. Right. And our forefather Jacob said the same thing. All right. Let's go to verse 12. Well, as a matter of fact, before we get this, let's go to Wisdom Solomon 10, right? Just looking at the way how forefather Jacob maneuvered, through the battlements of the city, through these snares and traps, right? This is Wisdom Solomon 10 and 10. Okay, we'll get this. Wisdom Solomon 10 and 10. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him. Who's that she? Wisdom. I'm going to show you, you got to have wisdom, especially in these days, man, when you're still over here in Mount Seir, dwelling amongst your so-called brother, right? When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right paths. And that only path right, is Yahushua, John 14:6. I'm the way. He's that way. He's that path, right? Guiding him in right paths, showed him the kingdom of Yahweh, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travels. And how are we rich in our travels? We're that merchant man, like Matthew chapter 13 said, that we stumbled across this treasure in the field, that field being the world. That's us being rich in our pilgrimage by stumbling across his truth, right? And it wasn't so much as us stumbling across his truth. It's Yahweh made us rich with this truth, made us rich with this knowledge that we don't deserve, like Jacob said, made him rich in his travels and multiplied the fruit of his labors, right? So,
got another precept on wisdom.
okay, but
Speaking how wisdom is the one that delivers you and puts you on the right track. There's the book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 17, and it says, "For at the first she will walk with him by crooked ways," man. So I'm saying, when we came into the knowledge of the understanding of the Most High God, man, we was still in the world. You know what I'm saying, still being niggas, women still being whores and stuff like that, right? But it says, "For at first she will walk with him by his crooked ways and bring fear and dread upon him and torment him with her discipline, man." And that's going into, you know what I'm saying, you learning the ways of the Most High God, being in your old man, and understand, damn, look, Most High God, he could judge me right now, man. I could be put to death right now for what I'm doing, man. That's wisdom correcting you, man. Let you know, look, there's punishment with what you got coming on, and look, man, change your ways. Until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws, but it's the point. Then will she return the straight way unto him and comfort him and show him her secrets, man. So only is why we know the secrets of the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? Going through the Bible and understand the spirituality of certain events, things like that. Because first and foremost, we got the wisdom of the Most High, man. The wisdom of the Most High is what sets you back on that right path, man. Like the brother was going into, man.
that's it. Yeah, that's it, bro. So yeah, let's go to back to where we at?
Verse.
Okay, yeah, verse 11.
Yeah.
He says, "Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children." And he says, "And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude." You know, and I just grabbed this just real quick. Same thing Isaiah said, you know, once again in 10. But you know, although Israel is that sand of the sea, only that remnant is going to return. Isaiah 20, 10 and 20, "And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth." He says, verse 21, "The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty Yahweh. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea." So, you know, Jacob realized that, you know, that Yahweh had made a promise that he'll make his seed as multiple as the sand of the sea. But he says, "For though thy seed be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return." And what does that mean, to return? Only the remnant is going to repent, right? Because a lot of people are so caught in the truth, but not many have actually been repented, man. Right? Because it tells you how we were actually going to return in Jeremiah 31. Let's grab that.
I got a precept as well.
Okay, fine. And this is how Yahweh said that we was going to return. This is Jeremiah 31. And let's see. Yep. Verse 9. And it says, let's start at verse 8. "Behold, I will bring them from the north country," right? Talking about Babylon, North America, "and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the woman with her child." Also going to show you that, you know, of course, our women and our children are going to be saved as well. It says, "And her that travaileth with child together, even our pregnant women. A great company shall return hither." That great company, that's going to Revelation chapter 7. The multitudes, the nations, the tongues, the different tongues. But nonetheless, verse 9, "They shall come with weeping." That's how we're going to return unto our power. So he says, as though your seed be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant shall return, meaning that remnant, they're going to come back with weeping, man. They're going to come back in abhorrence with their sins. As a matter of fact, it's a lock here. Let me find that. I want to say Ezekiel
20 and 30.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's spirit. That's a spirit. Let's see. Yep. I think it's 43. Shoot. Ezekiel 20 and 43. And it says, let me get that in NLT. You will look back on all the ways you defiled yourself. And what's all the ways we defiled ourselves? Christianity, shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster, negative thoughts. You know, we used to hate God in our mind, man. Right. And that word hate just don't necessarily mean that, you know, you just think evil thoughts about him. It just simply means, going back to the etymology of that word hate, it means to set aside. We used to set the Most High aside. Right. And that's how we defiled ourselves. He says, you will look back on all the ways you defile yourselves, and you will hate yourselves because of all the evil you have done. Yes, you will realize that you are nothing. Then it will bring you to the realization, right? And to the sentiment that David, our forefather, has said, who is man that you are mindful of him, right? That's who that remnant will be that's going to be returning from in Jacob. Jeremiah 31:9, they shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in a straight way. Hey, we keep seeing this phrase, straight way, man. I'm going to show you that there's one way. There's one path. There's not many different paths to the Most High and to his son, unlike what Oprah Winfrey would tell you.
Sure.
You know, there's not, hey, Noah, right? There's only one boat. It's not like once Noah, you know, close the door, oh, well, there's this other boat we can get on. No, there's one boat, there's one path, there's one truth, there's one body, one baptism, one faith, one Lord, man. One doctrine. All right. Says, I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in the straight way, wherein they shall not stumble. Because our people are stumbling. Why are they stumbling? Because they're drunk with the with the wine Babylon gives them. He says, for I am the father to Israel. Ooh. I'm the father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. That could lead us to some other places, but what's your precept about?
I'm gonna start. So we talk about the straight way. I'm gonna go to Matthew 7 and 13.
Time.
I'm gonna I'll give you a second for Matthew 7 and 13. It says, enter ye at the straight gate, man. So like I said, man, Yahweh Shai, he didn't bring nothing new, just some of everything that was already written before his incarnation, man. It says, enter ye at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, man. Because the whole world, majority of the whole world, you know what I'm saying, they believe in a white image of Christ. You know what I'm saying, believe in Christianity, God loves everybody, right? And mainly for our people, man, our people are into every doctrine, right? Our people want to join every movement to, you know what I'm saying, get so-called freedom, except for turning back to the Most High God, man. It says, and many there be which go therein, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, man. So understand the way to life. Hey, look, that's a narrow gate, man. That's a narrow street, man. There's not a lot of room in there, man. It's not meant for everybody. That's the point, man. Everybody can't just crowd up into it, man. Look, one at a time, man. And it says, and few they be that find it. That's that remnant, man. Majority of Israel, 66.6% of Israel, and it's not gonna make it, man. But only that small remnant, they're gonna understand the words of wisdom, come back through that straight gate, man. Right? I got another precept. Going to Romans 11 and verse 5, because he's going into the remnant, the ones that return. And it says Romans chapter 11 verse 5, and it said, even so, it's like I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, but what said the answer of Yahweh unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, man. And the 7,000 man is not a little 7,000 mean a complete amount. That's the remnant. That's the 1/3, man. It says, I have it's like I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal, man. Even so, at this present time, also talking about today, there's a remnant according to the election of grace, man. So it's only because of the grace of the Most High God, the promise that He made with Abraham, that look, there's a remnant left that's going to return back to the Most High God, man. And then I got one more so like this.
Yeah, bro.
Jeremiah 50 and we're going to start at verse 5.
All right.
Going into what you said earlier about, what I'm saying, Israelites returning back to Yahweh weeping, man. Right? Jeremiah 50 and verse just like I'm sorry, verse 4. And it said, in those days, talking about these last days, right? And at time said the Lord, said Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, and the children of Judah together, man. Right? And let you know, because Jeremiah, he's prophesying about Babylon, man. Northern Kingdom wasn't with us in Babylon, right? So this is talking about modern day Babylon, America, man. It said, in those days and in that time, said the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping, they shall go and seek the Lord their God, man. Cause like how we doing today, man. We realized because we was in error, man. We realized like we the ones who transgressed the Most High God. So we coming in truth and sincerity back to our God, man. Verse 5, and they shall ask the way of Zion with their face tilward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord, to the Yahweh, in the perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten, man. That's going into the new covenant, man. Right? Every brother who's chasing the Most High God right now, it's looking to be into the new covenant, man. So where we can be perfectly the laws of the Most High God is downloaded within us, man. And look, we could be perfect and righteous 24/7, man. Right, so that's what we're doing today, man. We're praying back to our God, man. But only that remnant is going to come back and do it, man. Because the Most High wanted all Israel to do so, and look, He would have did so. But yeah, the Most High, He's not even inside Israel. Because people have a hard time understanding. We said the Most High is not dealing with the whole world, and look, even with His chosen people, He's not dealing with His whole chosen people, but only that elect, man. You got it.
And that's a beautiful point because, like that verse that we use all the time, John 17. When he says, I pray for them, I pray not for the world, that's really, this Yahweh Shah really saying he's not praying for all the word of Israel, even he told Jeremiah, he says, don't even pray for these people, so going to show you that he can't obviously be dealing with everybody, man. He's only dealing with that elect. He's dealing with that band or that company that's not going to be smitten by Esau, right? So, yeah, man. Hey, it's beautiful. Beautiful chapter that we're going into. Let's get it again. It's Genesis 32, in verse 12, and he says, and thou saidest, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for a multitude. Verse 13, and he lodged there that same night and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau, his brother. And once again, let's get one more precept. The reason why he keeps giving these gifts, these presents, all right, it's because he understood how wisdom operates. Wisdom, having wisdom, dang. You appease the wrath. Man, what's wrong with this computer? You can still hear me? Okay. Let's see. It's Proverbs 21:14. And it says, a gift in secret pacifieth anger, and a reward in the bosom, strong wrath. Yeah. Once again, that gift is pacifying that anger, man. Right. And you see that even today. You may have an Edomite boss that you work with, or Edomite coworker that you work with, but just for peace sakes, you may do things that good and well you don't want to do, but it's because that wisdom that's inside of you, you operate in peace. That's what Paul has says, if at all possible, live in peace with all men. All right. That don't mean that you got to be their best friend. That don't mean that you're a coon. That don't mean that you believe that they can be saved. No, it's showing that you're patient in spirit. Because, hey, think about this. In the ancient world, when two kings, when they knew that they were about to go to war, they would actually sit down with each other, drink wine, and break bread with each other, and talk with each other. But tomorrow, they're going to be going to war with each other. Going to show you that having this truth and having this wisdom, it creates a diplomatic diplomatic mindset, an aristocratic mindset. Right? Just because that so-called white man is your enemy, that don't mean that you're gonna be walking up and down the streets. F the white man, Man, you going, no, there's a time and place for everything. We do that at camp. Other than that, we're like Yahweh Shah. All right. We're patiently waiting to be crowned, to be crowned kings.
I got to appreciate it.
God.
Because it's actually in the law to be, saying peaceful with the other nations, if possible, man. Going to Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse, I started verse 9, right? Deuteronomy 20 and 9. And it shall be when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people, man. And when thou comest not unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it, man. So what I'm saying, when you go into a city before you go fight, hey, look, try to establish peace with that city, man, right? But verse 11, and it shall be if it make the answer of peace and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, man. So when it's saying going to make peace with them, it's not saying I'm saying go join hand in hand and stuff like that. And look, before we destroy y'all, and look, we'll give y'all a chance to submit, put yourself under us, man. Right? And all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. And if they make no peace with thee, but shall make war against thee, then thou shalt be Caesar, man. So the Most High God, you know what I'm saying? He's the God dealing with Moors, man. You just don't walk like the so-called white man just walk up and start killing people, stuff like that. Hey man, look, you go in there, try to establish peace, and then put them in a tributary, man. If they don't submit, and then look, according to Yahweh Shai, said those Yahweh Shai, he came in a peaceful spirit doing his ministry, but he also said Luke 19:27, and look, those my enemies that wish that I should not reign over them, bring them here and kill them before me, man. So Yahweh look, he gave that's where we're going to the 2 thirds of Israel, and man, look, he gave you a chance to submit under him, man. But if you refuse, and man, look, then that's when you come against him, man. So you know what I'm saying, being peaceful is not, you know what I'm saying, a cop out of being weak. It's just using wisdom, man.
Oh. And even though, while we're being peaceful right now, and there is no reconciling, there is no, peace with this devil, right?
Yeah.
And the scripture says, Isaiah 48:22, there is no peace, saith Yahweh, unto the wicked. So the only way you can eliminate this man is, by destruction, by the same way how he got into power. But even with that, we know that that day of vengeance is in the Lord's heart, man. We got vengeance is his, and then he'll distribute out that reward unto those men who he deems worthy enough, who's created from the foundation of the world to partake into that great slaughter along with him. But other than that, you got to hold your peace.
Sure.
And that's what, as we can see clearly, our forefather Jacob was doing, man. Right. So, along with having this truth, along with having this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, there comes a certain type of spirit, that you possess inside. And this will actually help keep you more sane too, man. Because I know me, when I first came to the truth, we was all the same way. Bro, you was heated every day, bro. It just ready to fight any Edomite you see. Man, fuck you. It's like for my French, I'm slamming the door in your face. I ain't holding the door for you, nothing, But the older, the more you mature in this truth, and the more you read the scriptures and see how forefathers dealt with their enemies, and just leave it up to the Most High.
It's like it, because when I first came to the truth, man, I was working as a server in the restaurants predominantly Edomites, man. I came in the truth. I had 3 days off. That was the Most High God to give me a chance to go into it and stuff like that. Man, I went back to work, and then you gotta sit there serving Edomites and saying I need this and I need that. Man, look, it took a minute for you, to be humble in it to understand. And look, these just devils, they got the destruction coming to hand, man. Just got to focus on yourself. So coming to the truth, and man, look, you want to go ahead and fight the white man right now and stuff like that. But look, first and foremost, hey, look, man, you got to make sure you get that wisdom, knowledge, understanding, so you can be able to see that judgment, man.
God. So, and then that Revelation 13:10 really brings it out. That latter part of it says, here is the faith and patience. The patience of the saints, because like the brother just said, he's waiting for Edomite's hand and foot. Bro, you know how much patience you got to require? You don't know when Yahweh Shai coming back. He don't know when he coming back. Right. We know that Yahweh's time is different than ours. It's like, bro, listen, you got to cultivate patience. But guess what? If Yahweh Shai can be patient, here he is. He made the world. He made the people that's inhabiting it. He made the sun, the moon, the stars. But yet he came in here in earthly flesh when he was incarnate as Yahweh Shai, right, on earth, right? And he knew he was a king. He knew that he was a creator of all this. but he was patient. He could have called down a legion of angels to come, but he stayed in rank. He stayed in rank, man. So we got to do the same thing. All right, so and this is all. Hey, knowing this is going to help you in the time of Jacob's trouble as well, man. Because this is wisdom. It says, wisdom shall be the stability of thy times. So if you can't cultivate this, it don't matter how cold your breakdowns is. If you ain't got wisdom, you dead, man. You dead meat. But nonetheless, let's get back. This is Genesis 32 and 13. And he lodged there that same night and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she goats and 20 he goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine and 10 bulls, 20 she asses and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, pass over before me and put a space betwixt drove and drove. Let's read that again. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, pass over before me and put a space between drove and drove kind. Verse 17, and he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meeteth thee, and he asketh, saying, whose art thou, and whither thou goest, and whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present unto my Lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind. And you also see how humble Jacob is, right? Because in that birthright, when Rebecca was pregnant with Esau and Jacob, she said that what Yahweh has said that the elder shall serve the younger. But here we see Jacob calling Esau his Lord, and Esau calling Jacob his servant. See that? But yet the elder's still going to serve us. But see how Jacob was basically that's also going back to Proverbs. Before honor, humility. Let's grab that. Proverbs 18:12. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty. Yeah, and Esau was actually being haughty still, obviously, calling Jacob a servant, even though he knew what entailed in that birthright. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. And Jacob, Yaquab, our forefather, was showing humility by calling his brother that he knows that Yahweh hates, his Lord. Now I'm not saying you got to call Esau your Lord. I'm not saying that, but I'm just basically bring that out to show the humility that our forefather possessed. So nonetheless, let's get back. Genesis 32 and 17. Let's see where we at. Let's see, did I stop at 17? Okay, 17. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meeteth thee and asketh thee, saying, whose art thou? And you goest thou, and whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, on this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when you find him, and say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob behind. Salakia, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him. See that? I will appease him with the present that go before me. And we just got plenty of scriptures in Proverbs and other verses, how you appease that wrath, with gifts. Says, and afterward I will see his face, and peradventure he will accept of me. Verse 21. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night and took his two wives and his servants, his two wives and his woman servants and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. and he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. Verse 24. Now we're gonna slow down and dig into a little bit. It says, and Yahweh was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. Right. And as we continue to read from this verse on down, it goes to show you even more the type of legacy. Let's just go into that word legacy. Let's just see what that says. Legacy, body of persons sent on a mission. Yeah, and we're that body of persons. We're the body of Yahweh Shai, and we're sent on a mission. It says legacy, a gift by will. Yeah, this is exactly what that is, a gift by will, right? This was an inheritance by a gift. But let's keep reading. Let's just see what else we got. Let's go to related entries. Let me see what it's saying. Okay, yeah, I like this. This Merriam-Webster. Legacy, something transmitted, all right, by or received from an ancestor or predecessor or from the past, all right? And this is the legacy. This is something that that is transmitted, meaning he passed the torch down unto us, right? This is a legacy that he left us, right? So as we read, it shows you the type of spirit that the Lord put inside our forefather Jacob, man. All right. And that spirit of fighting, Jacob, Jake, out in the world, we naturally had that spirit of fighting, man. Esau, hey, he offs himself as soon as he get any type of tribulation. He loses his job, he offs himself. His wife cheated on him, he off himself. Lord forbid, he go into slavery, all of them off of themselves, but here we are, having that spirit of Yahweh on us, and being the seed of Yahweh, right? We went through all that hell, not just that, but we multiplied. We still the sand of the sea, right? Going to show you that that spirit of wrestling is still alive and well inside of us, man. Now you either wrestle on the right hand or you wrestle on the left hand, because you got Jacob wrestling Yahweh on the left hand side, fighting against Yahweh, on the left hand side, right? But we're fighting with Yahweh, like Sirach 4. Let's get that. Sirach 4 and 17. Sirach 4 and 17, or is it? Let's see. It says strive for truth. Sirach 4 and 28. Strive, and that word strive means to fight. Strive for the truth unto death, and then the Lord shall fight for thee, right? So you got the Jacob that's striving, for truth, right? And then you got that other, what do you call it? Other company of Jacob that's striving, against Yahweh. But anyway, let's go.
Got a quick precept.
Okay, bet.
This Exodus 14 and 14. Let me get it real quick. Exodus 14:14, and pretty much is going into it. It says the Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace, man. So, like I understand, man, you just put your faith and trust in the Lord, and look at the end of the day, man. Like I said, brothers, man, we ain't got the nuclear technology to go against Esau, man. We ain't got I'm saying, even though brothers got guns, we ain't got more guns than Esau, man. And you really think Esau gonna give you his best guns, man? So, like I said, man, we in the spiritual fight right now, man. You just keep your faith, trust in the Most High God, and look, in the day, the Most High God, he gonna come through for you, man. Just like he did all our forefathers, man.
That's it. And one reason why we're going through this is because of scrap that. So First Maccabees 2, and it's like First Maccabees 2, and let's see, where is it at? Okay.
I got a precept out to you as well.
Okay, kind. First Maccabees 2 and 51. He says, call to remembrance what acts our forefathers did in their time. so shall you receive great honor and an everlasting name. And this is all we're doing. We're calling to remembrance the acts of our fathers, what they did. Why? So we can receive that great honor and an everlasting name like them. All right. And that honor and everlasting name will be us in the kingdom. Oh, yeah. What's the precept?
Sirach 2 and verse 9. So Sirach 2 and 9, it says, ye that fear the Lord, hope for good and for everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old
Mhm.
and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken, or whom did he ever despise that called upon him, man? So we look at our forefathers like Daniel, man. Daniel was thrown in the lions den. Like he kept the faith of the Most High God, and look, he prevailed, man. You had Elijah, man. Elijah, he was one of the only few prophets who was still holding up the name of the Lord, where the majority of Israel was worshiping Baal. And look, man, he kept the trust in the Most High God, and look, he wasn't confounded because the Most High God made fire come down from heaven on the altar, man. Every one of our forefathers who relied on the Most High God, and look, man, the Most High came through for him, man. And look, we them same people today, so we do the same thing just like our forefathers. The Most High God, he gonna come through for us as well, man.
Oh,
But I would say, so like I got one more
okay.
precept. Deuteronomy chapter 32, and I believe it's verse 7. To Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse yeah, so like in verse 7, it says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations, ask thy father, and he will show thee, and thy elders will tell thee, man. So like I said, man, when it comes to, I'm saying, trying to figure out what to do, this Bible was written for our learning and understanding, man. The things that our forefathers have went through, they didn't necessarily go through it for their sake, but they really went through it for our sake, man. So when we come to the same troubles and tribulations, and look, we just read the Bible, see what our forefathers did, and look, and then we go through them same acts, man. Right? The mistakes they made, we do the opposite. But the correct things they did, and look, we do them same things, man.
We
We
left the
got
standard for us, man.
fine.
On tailgating, everything he said is Jeremiah 6:16. Thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths.
Fine.
And the way how you ask for the old paths, right? You simply just go read about it. All right. He says, where is the good way? Yeah, because that's the good way. Those are the good old days, man. He says, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your souls. Because guess what? When Yahweh Shah comes back, he's not going to further this modern society. He's not going to put new light poles up, new electrical beams up. No, we're going back to the ancient ways, man. We're going back to the Garden of Eden. Why? Because he says, when he made everything, he says it was good. Behold, it is very good. So if it was good, it don't need fixing. I'm going to show you what. When your house shall come back, we're going back to those old paths, whether you like it or not. Right. So this is why we are tracing the steps of our forefathers so we can get that cultivated mindset. So when that kingdom of heaven is implemented, right, we're ready. Right. He says, where's the good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your souls. But they said, and that they is the 2/3, we will not walk therein. And 2/3, they don't want to pull their pants up. The 2/3 don't want to stop having sex with their brother's wife. The 2/3 don't want to put the blunt down. The 2/3 don't want to leave Christianity alone. Right. So they just got to start all over again through the loins of the elect, man. So yeah, let's just go. You got anything else?
Yeah, I'm going to bring this. This is one of my favorite precepts,
Okay,
Jeremiah
bet.
44, going to how our, you just said our people, they were not hearkening into the word of the Most High God, man.
Mhm.
So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, and verse 15. No, it's like in verse 16, and it says, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of Yahweh, we will not hearken unto thee, man. Right? So you understand, man, these are, and really just going into it, these were people who knew there was Israel, man. They seen the works of the Most High God. They knew the word of the Most High God. They knew the Most High God was real, right? But they still, they look willingly rejected the words of the Lord, man. But we would certainly do whatsoever thing going forth out of our own mouth, man. That's all our people do today, man. You tell our people they can't be homosexuals, and look, you fight them. Tell people you can't smoke weed, you can't be a whore, and look, they fight you on it, man. And really, we just telling them the words of the Most High God. So they're not trying to fight us; they're trying to fight the Most High God, man.
Yeah.
The Bible says, "Woe unto him who strive against his maker, man." right? Where it says, but we would certainly do whatsoever thing that go forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, meaning to commit idolatry, to pour out drinks offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. When then we had plenty of like rituals and were well and saw no evil, man. So people, man, no matter how much you tell them the word of the Most High God to repent and things like that, and look, we're stiff necked people, man. We gonna do whatever makes us feel good instead of what makes the Lord feel good, man.
That's it.
But you got it right.
Con, yeah, Genesis 32 and 24. And he says, and Jacob was left alone. All right. And once again, man, although we have our brothers and sisters in this truth, it's still gonna come down to that crunch, especially in the time of Jacob's trouble. Because this was a time of Jacob's trouble right here, literally. And Jacob was in trouble, fighting something extraterrestrial, man. How about that? All right, we ain't never fought nothing extraterrestrial physically. If you do, your ass in trouble. So Jacob was going through his trouble alone, right? So he says, and Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And the breaking of the day is speaking about the morning, right? And we're going to be found wrestling until Yahweh comes back, and that's known as the morning. He's known as the who? The bright and morning star. Let's grab that real quick. Revelation 22 and 16. And he says, I, Yahweh has sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright and morning star. See that? So we're going to be, fighting in Jacob's trouble alone. Of course, we're still going to have the spirit of Yahweh Shai, with us, but it won't feel like, I went into this several times, he may, certify that he's with you, but who's to say that he's not going to withdraw that presence? Although he's still going to be with you, he's going to make it feel like that you're alone. Because Yahweh Shah, when he was in that Garden of Gethsemane, he felt like he was alone. Even when he was on the cross, he says, Father, why have you forsaken me? Although the Father didn't forsake him, but it felt like that. So once again, Jacob sees we're going to feel like we're alone in our Jacob's trouble. But you got to keep fighting, man. You got to keep fighting. You're going to say, when we're in the time of our Jacob's trouble, no, we not leaving until you bless us, man. Oh, I don't want to spoil it. Let's keep going if I get too excited, man. This Genesis 32 and 24. And Jacob was left alone and wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. Now we know that our warfare is not carnal. This is 2 Corinthians 10. Start at verse 4. I'm sorry, verse 3. And he says, for though we walk in the flesh, all right, Jacob was walking in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh, all right? He wasn't warring after the flesh. He was warring something spiritual, right? And we're warring something spiritual as well. He says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. And what's our weapons for this war? It's his holy word, man, his spirit, right? The sword of the spirit, all right? This is why this Bible also known as sword. This is our weapon, man. And we got that shield of faith, and we're going to grab that in Ephesians 6. It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh. And that off rip eliminates Esau, because even like the brother was saying, everything this man does is carnal, man. So this is why he has the ballistic missiles. He has the AR-15s. So this eliminates him from even being eligible to being able to fight in this type of warfare. Who's the only people that you truly see that's fighting tooth and nail to stay in the truth right now? Jacob, once again. Who's the only people that you see who's actually caring about this blessing, caring about this birthright? It's not Esau. He didn't start caring about this until he saw us on YouTube, until he saw us on the street corners. All right? Because he's been cool having partaking in his gift of the blessing, having all nations in subjection under him, having that sword conquering everybody. He's been cool with that. He don't care about that blessing. He hasn't been warring with the Heavenly Father on the right-hand side. But we have. And this we're doing it right now. Lord willing, we continue to do it until the morning, right? 2 Corinthians 10 and 4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. And Esau, he's a hell of a stronghold on us and our minds. And then also we, our own selves, we are a stronghold. Your own thoughts is a stronghold. All right, let's grab this in Ephesians 6. Ephesians 6 and 12, he says, I'm gonna start at verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahweh and in the power of his might. All right. Because as we continue to read, yes, Jacob, he was, fighting, but it was a power in him fighting. Because that's why the book of Isaiah 41 says he calls Jacob a worm, meaning that you're powerless. All right, going to show you that without him, you're nothing. So it was Yahweh's spirit inside of Jacob to even help him fight. Because without him, we're that worm. He says, finally, my brother, be strong in Yahweh and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, all right, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Let's go into that word wiles. And we know who the devil is, so-called white man.
Yeah, precept after you.
Okay, Khan. Wiles, it means cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. All right, let me see if it goes into anything else. Okay, Khan. Yeah, so put on the whole armor so you can stand against the trickery, the deceits of the devil. Verse 12, he says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. All right, Jacob wasn't wrestling against another man. He was wrestling against an angel, man. That was not flesh and blood. All right. Also proven to you, just in the spiritual aspect, who Paul is writing to, man. Jacob, seed of Jacob, right? Because he's stirring up our pure holy minds by way of remembrance. He says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, right? You got different types of powers, man. You got Esau, Edom, you got those powers, you got you got the spiritual world. It says against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And I didn't tell you, bro, but this was through the spirit that we did this lesson, because me and bro, we had thought about doing this lesson yesterday through the spirit. And I had a dream last night. Well, it wasn't a dream. I was asleep last night and I had woke up from a dream. And I was at work. I was still laying in bed, and it must have been around, we just came back into the building because we had went out on a run. Had to go assist this elderly lady, but when we came back, went back to bed, fell asleep, then I woke back up, and it must have been like around 3 o'clock in the morning. And I kid you not, I felt a force. I felt some type of negative energy coming to my room, and I felt pressed down on the bed.
Right.
And I knew what it was. Bro. I couldn't move. Like, I know what this is, man. This is just the Lord basically provoking me, all right, to remember what I just read. Because I read that chapter before I had went to bed about how a forefather fought, then I just called on Yahweh Bashmal Shah and it left eventually, But once again, we don't fight against flesh and blood, right? And there's going to be more spiritual things that's going to be happening the closer we get into the end of time. You may actually see ghostly figures. You may actually see, things that will bug the average human being out. But with you being the seed of Jacob, we don't see Jacob being frightened when he sees this. Jacob, he knows because he's a spiritual man, but he knows how to deal with it. All right. So anyway, let's go back to verse 13. He says, wherefore take unto the whole armor of Yahweh that you may be able to stand in the evil day. And having done all to stand. And Lord willing, perhaps, bro, we could just do a lesson on Ephesians 6 tomorrow, because this is an important chapter to know. It basically tells you everything, all the armor, all the equipment that you need, the helmet, the breastplate of righteousness, the sword of the spirit, the shield of faith, all that. And this is important. This is the only way we are not going to be succumb, to being dead meat, from either our brother Jacob or even our own selves, man. Right. So you had a precept though, bro?
Yeah. Kind of. It's just, what I'm saying, just further going into how, what I'm saying, we're not fighting a physical battle, a spiritual battle, but in order for us to fight the spiritual battle, look, man, we're gonna need help for the Father of spirits, the Most High God, man. So it says, this is Isaiah 41 and verse 14, where it says, fear not that warmer Jacob, man. Like going to the brother was saying, man, when he saw this angel, I'm saying, Jacob, he wasn't in fear, man. Jacob, he was a spiritual man. He already knew what it was, man. He said, fear not that warm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, said the Lord, say Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, right? So it's just going into how the Most High, right? He's going to be the one to help us, right? If you continue to put your trust in the Most High God, hey man, look, the Most High God, he's not going to have you confounded, man, right? He's not going to have you out there looking stupid, But let's say, brothers, we got do the possibility. How about you? You know, should we go out every week? You know, saying some brothers Friday, Saturday, some brothers just Saturdays, man. And we look like fools out there, man. You know, saying that the white man kingdom going down, saying that the black Hispanic Native Americans, the people who are the lowest state right now, are God's chosen people, man. Hey, look, man, that's a crazy thing to say in these days, man, right? But like I said, man, verse 14, fear not that worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, said the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, man. Right, so you continue to put your faith and trust in the Most High God, and look, man, he go come through for you, man. All right, let me get one more precept up.
Yep.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 11.
Yeah.
I believe it was verse 3 of one.
God.
Hebrews, no, not verse 3, but it's like in verse 6. It
Okay.
says, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him, man. So first and foremost, man, without faith, you know, you can't even serve the Most High God, man, right? Because the Most High God, Yahweh in the Hebrew, his name is He is, man, right? And you gotta understand what it means to say He is, man. Any problem or situation you have, and look, that's the man to go to, man, right? Like how you got, you know, what I'm saying, Jake in the hood, you got, you know, what I'm saying, you got that man, the one who got all the, you know, stuff you need and stuff like that. And look, the Most High, in the spiritual sense, He's that man, right? If you need your fix, and look, go to the Most High God, man. Right? If you need to make a payment or anything like that, look, go the same way. Go to the Most High God, man. He is, man, and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him, man. So you put your all in the Most High God, and look, man, He has no problem putting this all into you, man.
That's it.
You got that?
God. Yeah, he's that plug, man. He's literally the power.
God.
So Genesis 32, and we'll start verse 24 again. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day, till morning. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, meaning Jacob, he didn't prevail against Jacob. Let's go into that word prevail. All right, prevail. It says to prevail, overcome, endure, to be victor. Right? So no other nation is going to be able to overcome us, man. When you look at this in the spiritual aspect, right? We're going to be the victors, and we're going to continue to prove that. All right, let's just keep reading. And he says, let's see, let me go back. Verse 25. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint. And when you consider, you know, your thigh, right? That's the biggest bone in your body. So basically, you know, start us something. It's Psalms 147. And Psalms 147. Yep. In verse 10, he delighteth not in the strength of the horse. He taketh not pleasure in the legs of a man. Whew. Hey, and when you consider where Yahweh was touched from that angel, right? It was his thigh. That's his leg, right? The Most High doesn't take pleasure in the legs of a man, meaning he doesn't take pleasure in the power of a man. Bro, that even hit me until now. He doesn't take pleasure in your power. He was showing Jacob, listen, it's only through me that you have this power, right? Because when you consider the image in Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7, those legs is considered is who? The Roman Empire and the revised Roman Empire. And the Lord doesn't take delight in those people, even though that they're some of the most strongest empires to ever be erected, right? But the Lord, he doesn't take pleasure in the power of a man, right? So he just wanted to emphasize that fact that without him, there is no power. But anyway, he says, and when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him, right? Let's go here to Jeremiah 1:17. And it says, therefore gird up thy loins, all right, and arise and speak unto all them that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them. Verse 18, for behold, I have made thee this day a defense city, and an iron pillar, and a brazen walls against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, against the princes thereof, against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee. Right? So the same thing the Lord spoke unto his prophet Jeremiah. Right? And that same thing still being echoed into his prophets today. Right? Because people, they fight against us, but they're not going to prevail. Why? Because it's going to show you that we are the Jacob of Jacobs. You know, when you consider Galatians 6:16, he says, as many as walk according to this rule, they are the Israel of the Most High. So you got, once again, those two different type of companies of Jacob. You got Israel, but then you have the Israel of Yahweh. You have the Israel of the Most High, right? And those are the ones who these people cannot prevail against. He says, for I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to deliver thee. All right, so Genesis 32:26, he says, and he said unto him, and he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. So for the morning cometh. So this is what the angel is saying. And he says, I will not let thee go except thou bless me. And that's what, like I said earlier, this is what we're saying, right? When we go through that time of tribulation by ourselves, fighting, right, tooth and nail, you know, warring in the spirit, we're going to, hey, through the spirit, man, you know, and once again, it's only going to have to be the Most High God's spirit and the spirit of Yahweh Shai in us to even give us that type of courage and boldness to tell him, listen, we're not going to leave until you bless us, right? We know that you promised his inheritance unto us, man, right? I want to partake of that salvation. You know, if it's you know, means that I may be a martyr first and then get risen up, so be it. I want that. You promise it unto me, right? He said he's not a man that he shall lie, right? So, and Jacob understood this. Let's grab this in 2 Timothy. If you got any precepts, 2 Timothy 4:7, he says, I have fought a good fight. So he's going to show you that Paul, he himself fought, man. Him being the seed of Jacob. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith, right? Just like Yaquab did, just like Jacob did. He fought that fight and he finished it and he kept the faith. Henceforth, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, right? And that's that rulership that's promised to who? The seed of Jacob, man. No other. He says, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day. And that day, that's going into the actual day of, there's going to actually be a day of crowning, man. According to 2 Ezra chapter either 1 or 2, I believe. Right? He says, and not to me only, but unto all them that love his appearing. That love his appearing. All right. Let's go back. Genesis 32:27. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name. Another point I want to get. All right, let's go here. Because when you read, what is that? Well, I just keep reading. Verse 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. All right, and Israel, let's go into that word. Israel. And we know in the Paleo Hebrew means Yashala, right? It means God prevails, or prince of the power, right? And it says, but you should be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince that has power with Yahweh, and with men, and has prevailed. Now let's take a closer examination, if you will, right, at this. He says, for as a prince that has power. Now, knowing that we are the next rulership to be, we are this next government to be. This is Romans 13:1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of Yahweh. Going to show you that that was Yahweh, that was that power inside of Jacob, because there's no power apart from him. All right. He says the powers that be are ordained of Yahweh. Let's go into that word powers. Powers. The power of choice, liberty, as doing as one pleases. leave or permission. Oh, this is what I want. Let's see. Where is it at? Where's it at? Salahi. Man, ability. What you want to do? I had seen it. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is it. The authority over mankind. Yeah, because Jacob has authority over mankind. I'm going to show you once again, we're the descendants of the Adamites. Not trying to go too deep into it, right? Because when you also go into that word prevail, it literally means to have a superior influence. Prevail, to be successful, efficacious, and where is it at? To be stronger or more able, have greater power. And when you look at Jakes today, we're just naturally stronger. Just speaking on a carnal level, naturally stronger than everyone else. And then spiritually, there's really no comparison, man. Absolutely no comparison when it comes to spirituality. We're much more stronger than people, right? And let's see if I can find this. Man, oh, here it is. The meaning, have or exert superior influence. See that? We have superior influence. We have superior power. This is why we prevail, right? But once again, the reason why we have that superior power is because of the superior power. It's because of Yahweh, right? You had a precept?
Yeah, con.
Come.
So, really just going to we superior, man. And it's for a reason, man. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 20. It says, "Thou art my battle axe and my weapons of war," man. So you understand the God, Yahweh, he's a man of war. Us being his instruments of war, and look, naturally, we're stronger than the other nations, man. That's why these nations, they got to have rifles and things like that. But yeah, when you go into our history, man, we had swords, man. We was hand to hand. We was all about being in the person's face, man. Let the better man win, man. So it says, "Thou art my battle axe and my weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, man." So naturally, we better than the other nations. And look, man, the other nations, they know we better than that, man. Not, you know what I'm saying? Putting myself more than what I really am and nothing like that, because you got to be humble with it. But hey, look, man, you understand when it comes to so-called blacks, Native American, man, they don't want to fight us, man. When we go on the streets and we profess the name of the Lord, you don't see nobody up there trying to fight us, man. Right? Because they understand, they see the power that win us, man. That's why the Most High God say he didn't give us a spirit of fear, man. Right? We ain't supposed to be fearing all the things they could do, man. We supposed to come out proclaiming like come out and just profess the words of the Lord the way it is, man. Not caring about people's feelings or nothing like that, man. Let me get one more.
Yeah, take time out.
This book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse chapter 1. Let me see. I think it's 17.
God.
So this book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 17. And it says, thou therefore gird up their loins and arise and speak unto them all. I command thee, be not dismayed at their face, lest I confound thee before them, man. So like Most High God said, man, hey, look, we go out, profess the name of the Lord, and look, don't be dismayed at it. Because if we go out and be fearful of, you know what I'm saying, the word of the Lord, and look, he gonna make us a stumbling block in front of everybody, man. And it says, verse 18, "For behold, I have made thee this day a defense city, man, a iron pillar, a bracing walls against the whole land, man." Meaning a defense city, meaning look, nobody can penetrate you, man. On the spiritual sense, man, when we come out and we going against the wisdom of the world, man, and look, nobody can confound us because we're just speaking the words of the Most High God, man. And it says, "Be not dismayed at their face," least like verse 18. "But for behold, I have made thee this day a defense city, an iron pillar, a bracing wall against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, against the princes thereof, against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee, for I am with thee," said the Lord, "to deliver me," man. So just like with going in with Jacob, man, he fought against the angel. Why? Because he was able to win because he knew the Most High God was dealing with him, man. So we got to come in that same spirit as our forefather Jacob, man. Understand the Most High God, he's dealing with us because we only thing we preach is Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and that he makes it to the fifth city, and they're not gonna prevail against us, man. It's that same energy that God told Jeremiah to have that we got to have in these last days, man.
Mm-hmm. And this is why, you know, when we look at our forefather Jacob, man, this is what gives us, you know, that confidence of our legacy, of this heritage that we have of our forefathers. Because what other nation of people can say that they have a forefather like this? You know, you go to the Edomites, they'll tell you about their forefather. He'll track it all the way back to the Vikings, and after that, it take you to some damn caves. You know, but ours take us back, you know, to our forefather fighting with a spiritual being, man. You know, fighting with the spiritual being and overcoming it through the power of powers, man. You know, so this is what I'm saying. We have a legacy that's unrivaled, man. You know, and this is why we have to the best of our ability, you know, try to fulfill, you know, his shoes. You know, the only way you can do that, you know, you got to have the faith of Jacob, you know, and we know that Jacob, he had faith in Yahweh Shah. You know, he understood, he knew who Yahweh Shah was. Make no doubt, make no mistake about that, right? So nonetheless, let's keep going, finish it out. Genesis 32 and 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob. All right. Let me make sure y'all can see it. That name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince that has power with Yahweh and with men and has prevailed. Now let's go into that word prevail once again, right? Because, see, prevail. To be victor. Victor, meaning you have the victory. Now, the whole world, right? The whole world is going to be on the losing side here pretty damn soon. They're either going to be conformed to the image of the beast. They're going to have taken the mark of the beast. They would have had, you know, done something else to make them in alliance with this beast system. But the only people that's not is Jacob. Let's see. Revelation 15, verse 2. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the what? The victory over the beast. That's you prevailing over this beast. Once again, Jacob, man. That's why the Bible says that you had power with Yahweh and with men and prevailed. And the beast system is obviously constructed of from men, but we prevailed that. The Jacob of Jacobs, right? He says, them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image, right? Everything that America encompasses, white supremacy, Christianity, LGBT, Sodom and Gomorrah, everything that this place, the image is basically something that looks like you. Whatever is America, whatever looks like Babylon, that's his image. He says over his mark, right? That's the microchip, the grain of rice, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. Right. So let's go back, because that was the main point, to be victor, right? And the only people that's going to have that victory is that elect, man, that other company that wasn't swallowed up. You see, that company that escaped. That's the company that's going to have that. Dang, bro. Woo, I didn't even see that. That's that company that's going to have that victory, man. But nonetheless, let's go back to 29. Dang. Who would ever known you would have went to Revelation reading Genesis 29? No, so this is Genesis 29 in verse 32, 32 and 29. He says, and Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And who's the only people that's asking for the Most High name? Right? It'll be us, man. It's us. We want to know his name, the elect. He says, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. All right. Yeah, and I want to say some other stuff, but Lord willing, you know, we get back on a part 2 to this. He says, verse 30, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen Yahweh face to face. For I have seen power or God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he said over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he have halted upon his thigh. So now the sun rose up on Jacob, and now he got back on the stock, and this is a prophecy, right? And Malachi 4. And like I said, Lord willing, after I do a little more studying on this, we'll go a little deeper, Lord willing. Malachi 4:2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of righteousness arise with healing in his wings, right? And that sun, right, came and rose upon Jacob, and it healed him, right? It healed him, it healed his thigh. It had healing in his wings. And we know those wings are really symbolic to the chariots. Those chariots, that's going to be a healing, man. You being brought out of this hellhole. He says, and you shall go forth and grow up as cows of the stall, and you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahweh of hosts. Let's go back to Genesis.
I got 2 precepts.
Okay, come
So I'm saying, going to the wings, this is Exodus 19:4. He said, "You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, right? I buried you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself, man." So like this the same spirit the Most High had with us in Egypt, is the same spirit the Most High can have us in his modern day Egypt, man. The Most High God, he's going to bear us up on his wings, which in modern day would be his chariots, man. And then we're going to be able to avoid the destruction of this wicked place, man. Right, but going back to what you said in Genesis 32 about the light rising, the sun rising upon. I want to go to the book of Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 1, man. And saying, man, that the light rises upon Israel, and look, man, that's a double meaning, man.
Yep.
That's us coming back into the knowledge, and also that's us, being rulers over this world, man. So Isaiah 60 and 1, it says, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord Yahweh has risen upon thee," man. So like I said, man, we was walking in darkness. We used to walk in darkness in this world as well, right? But like I said, man, the glory of the Most High God, his light is shining upon us, man. But behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and like it is today, man, people caught up in Christianity, man. People caught up to fulfilling the lust of the flesh, man. But you know what I'm saying? We gotta be chasing out the spiritual things, man. It says, "Behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee," man. Right? And verse 3 is just to get it. "And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising," man. So like I said, man, they see us, you know what I'm saying, Israel rising up, Israel claiming their nationality back, and Israel proclaiming the Lord's, the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. So also when that light is coming upon us, hey, look, man, that's us being risen up in the glory of the Most High God, Yahushua, man.
There's a lot of light scriptures.
Uh,
One is Isaiah 9:2. The people that have walked in darkness have seen a great light. And who's those people who've seen that great light? The seed of Jacob, particularly the repentant, that the remnant that escaped, right? And that great light is who? John 1.
Fuck yeah. We use that Isaiah 9. Can you read verse 6 as well?
Oh, kind. Yeah, I was gonna go back to it.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, this John 1 and verse 4 says, "In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shineth in darkness," right? And the darkness comprehended not. And that would be the 2/3 of Jacob. They didn't comprehend his light. They're still not comprehending. There was a man, let me skip down. There was a man sent from Yahweh whose name was John. The same came for a witness to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. So John bear witness of this light. He was not that light, speaking to John, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light. See that? And the Bible, it makes it clear that you have different lights. That's why, in the world, they say, "Oh, I've been enlightened." Okay, you may have had some, you may have a few nuggets of truth there, but it's not the true light. Going back to that true path, right?
Like
Our people
also said, no, that's like it also said, Satan could transform into a minister of light as well, man.
That's it.
But you gotta understand which light are you bearing.
That's it. Go. It says that was the true light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world, come to the world of Israel. Isaiah 9:2. The people that walk in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, and that's us. Right, we're dwelling in the land of the shadow of death. Right, so much blood of innocent Israelites have been shed upon this place. So much more blood is about to be shed. Right, this is the land of the shadow of death, where you gotta worry about bullets whizzing through your head, or by your head as soon as you walk out. That's the shadow of death. It says, upon them have the light shine, right? And you wanted verse 6.
Yeah, verse let's see, not verse 6. Go down some more. I think it's
Huh?
try to 8. Let me see.
You said 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Says,
Isaiah 9 and 8. Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. It
The
says
Lord.
and
Okay.
yeah, you can read it on.
The Lord sent a word into Jacob, and it had lighted upon Israel.
Right. So that's really, what I'm saying, the spiritual sense. That's talking about Yahweh Shah, man. Because you understand, when Yahweh Shah was on earth, Israel itself was walking in darkness, man. But Yahweh Shah, hey, look, man. Also says in the book of it's like the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 12. It says, then Yahweh Shah, it's like a spake Yahweh Shah again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world, and he that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life, man. Right? So it's understanding the true followers of Yahweh Shah, man. Hey, look, we not walking in darkness, man. Because I remember I did a lesson on this. I going to the one of the places in Egypt was, it was darkness over the land, but yet it was only light shining in Goshen, man. It's the same thing today, man. It's darkness all over the world. But yeah, the only people who got the light right now are the people who dwell in modern day Goshen with spiritual. I ain't gonna say spiritual Israel in the sense of, what I'm saying, how the Christian church use it, man.
Yeah.
But the people who's walking in the true image of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we like in the spirit, man. Look, we the ones that got light right now, man. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's yeah, it was Psalm 18.
Very well.
What was it? Nevertheless, the saint had a very great light, because you know what I'm saying. Even if you read your Bible, the footnotes you got 611 King James is going back to Exodus 10, man. Nevertheless, the saints had a very great light, whose voice they heard and not seeing their shape, because they also had not suffered the same things that kind of them happy, man. But when the Most High God, when he was plaguing the Egyptians, man, just like he plaguing modern day Egypt, was just America, man. And look, man, we get rejoiced, man, when we see trials, tribulations come on America, man. They saying their armies can't fight against Russia and China, man. Right? The stores run out of food and things like that. We rejoice, man, because we understand that the times of this kingdom is coming to an end, man. We the ones who walking in true light, man, because you can't lie to us no more, man. You can't drive us in the Christian church no more and tell us that God loves everybody and Christ is a white man. We're just some black people that found in Africa, man. And look, man, we understand that we're the true children of the Most High God, Yahweh, man. Right? We're walking in light, and look, we're kind of happy, man. Right?
Hey, even in Genesis chapter 1, he says he divided the light from the darkness. So there's always been a distinction from that light and that darkness, man. There's no gray areas with Yahweh Shema Shah. You're either enlightened or you're dark, man. So, but nonetheless, Jacob, that light rose, that sun rose upon Jacob, man, and upon his seed, and we were healed when that light came upon us. That's what that's symbolizing. Had healing in his wing. We got healed when that light came upon us, man. All right, when Yahweh Shah, because he's that light, when Yahweh Shah rose upon us. Verse 32, therefore the children of Israel shall, therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Yahweh's thigh and the sinew that shrank. Yep. So, yeah, man, that's just a little something that, through the spirit, me and the brother just wanted to touch upon, just to basically call to act the remembrance of our forefathers, particularly Jacob, for those of you who's sincere in this thing and who wants to model your walk, in this truth after your forefather. But, if you got any closing remarks, we'll go and wrap it up.
No, I just wanted to end it on Matthew 24 and verse 13. So, you know what I'm saying, how Jacob, man, he endured. Same thing we have to do, man. Matthew 24 verse 13, but it says, but he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved, man. So when it comes to this walk, man, understand, man, you gonna fall. You know what I'm saying? You might slip up. It might be times where you feel like the Most High not dealing with you and stuff like that. But hey, look, man, you just gotta endure to the end, man. And that's all that's required of you, man. Just keep the commandments, have faith in Yahweh Shah, no matter what's thrown your way. Even if you gotta, you know what I'm saying, die for the word of the Most High God, you gotta understand that. Hey, look, man, I die for the Most High God. He has the power to resurrect me into the kingdom, man. So with that, you know what I'm saying, On the go to your high by Shem Y'all Shai, unless you got something else to say.
Nah, that's it. EA, you know, a ball, my waffle up a ball, and
Shalom.
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 All right.